Financial gurus have lied to you. For years, you've been told that the secret to wealth is skipping your morning coffee. You've been told that if you just clip enough coupons, if you drive an extra 5 miles to save 10 cents on gas, and if you deny yourself every single small joy that makes life bearable, you will magically wake up as a millionaire. And not only is it a lie, it's a dangerous one, because that mindset, that obsession with shrinking your life to fit your paycheck, is precisely what is keeping you broke. Welcome to The Intervention. Today, we are going to talk about why you need to stop being frugal and start getting real. Let's define what we're actually talking about here. Frugality, in the way most of the middle class practices it, is not a financial strategy. It is a socially acceptable form of anxiety. When you spend 20 minutes stressing over which brand of pasta is 50 cents cheaper, you aren't managing your wealth. You are reinforcing a neural pathway in your brain that says, resources are scarce, I am not safe, I will never have enough. I want to introduce you to a core premise that we are going to mathematically prove today. You cannot shrink your way to wealth. Think about it. There is a mathematical floor to how much you can cut. You can't eat zero food, you can't pay zero rent, you can't drive a car on zero gas. You can only cut so much before you hit bone. But income? Income has no ceiling. I knew a guy, let's call him Gary. Gary was the king of frugality. He clipped coupons for 20 years. He wore socks with holes in them because new socks are a waste of money. He drove a car that smelled like burning oil because he refused to pay for maintenance until it broke down on the highway. Gary saved, on average, about $200 a month doing this. Over 20 years, that's $48,000. Right. Wrong. Because Gary was so exhausted from the mental gymnastics of being cheap, he never learned a new skill. He never asked for a raise because he was terrified of rocking the boat. He never invested in assets because he was too scared to lose his pile of pennies. Gary saved $48,000. Meanwhile, his inflation-adjusted salary dropped by 15% over those 2 decades. He shrunk his life, and his wealth shrunk right along with it. The average personal savings rate in the U.S. hovers around 4 to 5%. Most people are barely scraping by, and the advice they get is cut more. It's like telling a starving person to diet. It's not just ineffective, it's cruel. The brutal math of the latte factor. Let's look at the math, the brutal math, because numbers don't care about your feelings, and they certainly don't care about Dave Ramsey's opinion on your Starbucks. The latte factor. The idea that if you stop buying a $6 coffee every day, you'll be rich. Let's run the numbers. $6 a day times 365 days, that is $2,190 a year. Now, the gurus will tell you, invest that at 8% for 10 years. Okay, let's do that. If you diligently invest that coffee money every month for a decade, you end up with about $31,700. $31,000 in 10 years. Let me put that into perspective for you. The median home price in the United States is over $420,000. In many major cities, it's double that. Your 10 years of coffee deprivation, that creates a down payment of roughly 7%. Congratulations, you have been miserable every morning for a decade, and you still can't buy a house. But wait, it gets worse. We haven't talked about the silent killer, inflation. Since 2020, the price of groceries has increased by over 25%. Rent is up 30% in many areas. That $2,190 you saved by skipping coffee, it got eaten entirely by the increase in your grocery bill for basic survival food. In 2026, an extra $2,000 a year is not wealth, it is a rounding error. You are treating $5 decisions with the same mental energy as $50,000 decisions. This is the middle-class mistake. You spend 3 hours researching how to save $20 on a rental car, but you sign a 30-year mortgage for $500,000 without reading the paperwork, because everyone buys a house. You are stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. Let's talk about gas. I see you driving 4 miles out of your way to a Costco to save 15 cents a gallon. Your tank holds 15 gallons. You saved $2.25. It took you 20 minutes of driving. You burned $1.50 in gas just getting there. You saved 75 cents. And you spent 20 minutes of your one wild, precious life to do it. Is your dignity worth 75 cents? Is your time worth almost zero? Because that is what you are telling the universe every time you do this. The mental energy cost of this lifestyle is astronomical. You are running a complex accounting firm in your head every time you walk into a 7-Eleven. Can I afford the gum? Should I get the generic gum? That brain power, it's finite, and you are wasting it on gum. This is where we get into the psychology, because money isn't just math. If it was just math, everyone would be fit and rich. Money is emotion. When you live in a state of constant frugality, you are putting your brain into what psychologists call a scarcity mindset. Scarcity lowers your IQ. Literally, studies have shown that when people are preoccupied with financial lack, their cognitive function drops equivalent to losing a night of sleep. But here is the most dangerous part: willpower depletion. Willpower is a battery. Every time you walk past the coffee shop and force yourself to say no, you drain the battery. Every time you put back the good cheese at the store, you drain the battery. And what happens when the battery hits zero? You snap. It's exactly like dieting. You eat lettuce and dust for 3 weeks. You feel miserable. Then one Tuesday night, you break. You don't just eat a cookie, you eat the entire bakery. With money, it looks like this. You deny yourself the $6 coffee for 6 months. You feel deprived. You feel poor. You feel like you work hard for nothing. So to make yourself feel better, to feel powerful, to feel alive, you make an ego purchase. This is the invisible prison of being cheap. You lock yourself in a cell of small deprivations only to break out and commit a felony against your future self. Let's talk about opportunity cost in your brain. Frugality kills creativity. It kills risk-taking. If you are terrified of losing $50, you will never start a business. You will never invest in a course to learn a new skill. You will never move to a new city for a better job. You become risk-averse to the point of paralysis. Wealthy people do not think like this. A wealthy person looks at a $6 coffee and asks, "Does this make me productive? Does this make me happy? Does this save me time?" If the answer is yes, they buy it. They don't think about it again. They save their brain power for the million-dollar questions, not the $6 ones. This brings us to the single most important concept in economics: opportunity cost. Poor people spend time to save money. Rich people spend money to save time. Let's go back to the grocery store example. You spend 3 hours on a Saturday driving to 3 different stores to save a total of $15 on your grocery bill. Let's do the math. $15 divided by 3 hours. You have just valued your time at $5 an hour. Is that what you're worth? $5? If you believe you are worth $5, you will never earn more than $5. The market pays you what you think you're worth. This is the strategy I call mind the gap. The gap is the difference between what your time is worth doing low-level tasks versus high-level tasks. If I can pay someone $20 to mow my lawn, and that frees up an hour where I can work on my business and generate $200, I am not spending $20. I am buying $180 of profit. But you are painting your own fence. You're changing your own oil. You're DIYing everything because you think it's virtuous to save money. It's not virtuous. It's expensive. Wealth is created through leverage, automation, outsourcing. You need to stop grinding for pennies and start building systems for dollars. Buying back your time is the only way to scale your income. You cannot scale coupon clipping. There is a limit. You can scale a business. You can scale investments. You can scale a personal brand. There is no limit. So how do we fix this? How do we break the cycle? We use the 9-to-5 cheat code. Stop obsessing over the expense column of your life. It's boring, it's depressing, and it's capped. Start obsessing over the income and asset columns. Here is my challenge to you. 1. Spend lavishly on value. If a gym membership costs $200 but keeps you healthy and energetic enough to work harder, buy it. If a $6 coffee makes you focus for 3 hours,
buy it. 2. Cut mercilessly on waste. And by waste, I don't mean coffee, I mean the logo scam. Stop trying to impress people you don't like with money you don't have. That is the only frugality that matters. Ignore the Joneses. The Joneses are broke. The Joneses are in credit card debt up to their eyeballs. 3. Focus on wealth without burnout. Use the mental energy you save from not stressing over pennies to learn a skill. Learn sales, learn coding, learn how to edit video, start a side hustle, buy an index fund. If you spent the same amount of time you spend looking for deals on Groupon on actually increasing your market value, you wouldn't need the Groupon. The system wants you to be cheap. It wants you to be scared. It wants you to think small. Don't let them win.
Stop shrinking. Start growing. If you are ready to stop playing the victim and start playing the game, hit that subscribe button. We are building a community of people who refuse to be poor in mind or pocket. Drop a comment below. What's one frugal habit you are going to quit today? Let me know. I'll see you in the next one. Go make some real money.